Hi, everybody, and welcome to the This Is My Lockdown podcast. Today I have with me Vanessa and Kieran, and we're going to have quite an interesting discussion about cabin fever. But yeah, we're excited to have you join us. We're still in lockdown, and Boris yesterday announced a step-by-step process.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to going away. Going home, going somewhere where the sun,
Literally.
Oh, yeah, and nicer weather. But lockdown has been tiring for all of us, and it gets the hardest when it's about to get better, And I personally hate it, and I'm tired of it. But I found recently that lockdown is synonymous with a safe space. And really, that's what we want to create with this podcast, a safe space where we can talk about mental health and well-being issues within our Black community and what it means to be Black and what mental health means to us and the different issues that are going on within this period of time. And there's been so much, and it's been quite overwhelming, So, yeah, just trying to create a safe space where we can prioritize our well-being and realize our strengths and capabilities within our community and break the stigma surrounding mental health, because until we talk about it and try to reverse the narrative, not much is going to be done about it. So yeah, this is what This Is My Lockdown podcast is really about. And we are proudly sponsored by the National Lotteries, the big lottery, that's the community fund, and the This Is My City brand. So I'm Angela Kuma, and as I said before, I have Vanessa Kelly and Kieran with me. I forgot Kieran's surname. Forgive me, Kieran.
I go by Kieran Frantic.
Okay, yeah. Kieran Frantic. So we have Kieran Frantic and Vanessa Kelly with us.
Thank you.
I'll let them introduce themselves. I know Kieran is a creative entrepreneur. Vanessa has her own CIC and is passionate about food. So is that too much passion CIC, isn't
That's
it?
correct. Thanks, Angela.
Yeah. So who's going to go first?
Ladies first, of course.
Okay,
Yeah, thank
gentleman.
you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Kieran.
My name is Vanessa Kelly. I have a brand which is called This Is VLK. That's all about me. I never did that until lockdown. I knew it was coming, but then I had to have a personal brand. So that was something that was definitely, it was there, it was in the cards. So that's definitely more about me and my personal journey. In that brand, I do a lot of talks to kids in schools, drugs, alcohol, all the sex, drugs and rock and roll, the things that you don't want to talk to your teacher about. Yeah. So yeah, that's my kind of niche. I do festivals, I do events. Hopefully they will come back.
Yes,
To what
looking
I am,
forward to that.
20,000 people. I am ready for it. But yeah, we'll see. So, and even with that brand, I do a lot of collaborative work with people. I also have a non-profit organisation called Too Much Passion CIC, which is passionate people about food. Yeah. Everything about food. So teaching and delivering and community coordination on that and projects. So that's my baby that I've been nurturing and growing for a number of years now. Okay. And then my didn't birth from COVID, but it definitely had a bit of a push because of COVID. And that's the seasoning ingredient, which is a monthly subscription service, which I kind of started and launched and doing contract seasoning boxes for companies and businesses and stuff. So yeah,
okay.
Busy lady.
Oh yeah.
Pick up yourself, man. Pick up yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Got a lot going. Kieran?
Okay, so how do you follow up on that?
You told me to go first.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, Kieran Frantic. I've been doing media and music for 10 years now, just over 10 years in the Birmingham and Midlands scene. I've got two businesses that stem from that. So the first one is No Hope. No Hope is a agency for digital services. So we do branding, marketing, video production, podcast production. We do strategies. We do all that kind of good stuff. And I work with like a group of freelancers that work with me and different creatives from all over the city.
Okay.
And then my second business, Smoking Bagels, is a street food business.
Food,
so
yay.
In the food game. Doing street food, smoking bagels for about 4 years. That is festivals, that we had a shop in North Birmingham, that's catering, that's, all the good stuff that comes with street food and the exciting stuff with it.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, similar thing, just do workshops for the young people around entrepreneurial skills and around kind of like mental health awareness and the things that are impacting our community.
Yeah. Thanks,
Well
Vanessa.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
you
was
guys
good.
had,
That was
amazing
good.
stuff.
Hello.
Amazing stuff going on.
I had a good copy to follow.
And smoking bagels. Yeah. Yeah.
And they were good. Like
Now you guys are
like
making me hungry. I don't
food.
like this.
I
So
know.
like yesterday, we just did a pop-up yesterday at Yard Art House. So I manage Yard Art House in Birmingham, which is a hub for creatives. And we put smoking bagels down to there, and we're doing it monthly. So I'm inviting you to say next month, last Monday of each month, come to Yard, come get some smoking bagels.
Okay. Did you hear all of
Yeah.
that? I hope
Yeah.
you all caught that.
Yeah,
Man.
I
Yeah.
will be there. I love food.
Last Monday of each month, yeah.
Last
Okay.
Monday. Good.
Okay. Noted. Okay. So Vanessa and Kieran have told us amazing stuff about themselves, and I admire your work. I admire creatives because I'm not very creative, or I think so. I can't draw a straight line with a ruler, but I think, that's all we peg creativity to. Like, can you draw? Can you sing? Yeah. Can you write poetry? But there's just so much more.
I was gonna say, I think everyone's creative.
Yeah. Okay.
And even the way that you put your outfits together today is creative. The way you chose to use colours and textures and style, that's creative.
Go me.
So I don't like when people say they're not creative.
Yeah.
Because that's the start of you telling yourself you can't do something. But you definitely can.
Always.
Yeah. And that's definitely something we're going to go into a lot more, because we're going to talk about cabin fever and being stuck at home and what it's felt like, what we are realizing and what cabin fever really is. So it's not an immediate or a straight up diagnosis, or like you go to the hospital and they say you have cabin fever. It doesn't happen like that, but it comes as a result of having to be stuck at home for such an extended period like we have. And we've been home for about a year.
Yeah.
Sounds mad.
I've lost track, honestly.
I know, right?
I've been home for a year.
Yeah.
That just sounds crazy.
Do you know how many times I've thought about it though? Like, you've had those ideas, like if I could only just have a job that just allowed me to stay at home, I would just stay at home for ages. And then now that it actually happened, it was like, wow.
You have to be careful what you wish for.
Yeah,
Seriously.
right. Like, someone asked me, so what do you do for fun? I'm like, such a thing exists?
Yeah.
Fun. Do you remember fun? Leisure time. That was cool.
Right?
It's been so many years.
And similarly, so the other day, my friend, it was his birthday, and he's booked a week off work.
Yeah.
And I said, but what do you do with a week off work?
Now.
Lockdown? Like, surely you've already got that week home.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm in PhD, I mean, like my PhD circles, we're no longer saying we're working from home. We say we're living at work.
Yeah.
Got it.
Because that's what we're all living at work now, aren't we?
True.
And
so true.
I can imagine people that live with 5 other people or 3 other people. You must be driving each other crazy. Or even with just a partner, or a housemate, or a friend. I live with my housemate and I don't come out of my room. She literally has to come and knock on my door to get me out of my room because
What's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And so many people are struggling, and so many cabin fever symptoms like decreased motivation and difficulty waking up and food cravings, and you only go downstairs and up and down the stairs to go to the fridge or go to the kitchen, raid your stash.
I'm guilty.
Yeah. I don't even need to go downstairs. Everything is in my room. So I'm not even doing any walking. Helplessness, there's a lack of patience, lethargy, sadness or depression, and trouble concentrating. And the line between cabin fever and depression has grayed a lot during this period. And people can't even tell whether it's just I'm bored of staying at home or I'm actually depressed now.
Yeah.
And it's a really difficult time, But let's talk first about what it's been like for both of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ladies first
As
again.
always.
Yeah,
Every
thanks.
time
Every
she's first,
time. Okay. I'll be prepared. Thanks now. So I think just the lead up, this is like this time last year. I kid you not, it's this time exactly last year. I had an event that was happening. We were doing this. There was loads of events. There was a couple of different events that were happening that week, and just to have to cancel everything and make all those phone calls. I don't cancel anything. I don't not get anything done, and it was so hard to know that you were making it such a decision. So that we knew that things were happening and stuff, and I think it was just there was a realization at some point of, oh my goodness, my life is outside. I travel for work. My livelihood is outside, and I need to what is actually going to happen. And the uncertainty was so uncertain that there was a moment for me that I literally had to go, okay, this is lockdown,
Yeah.
and confront that that's what it was. I had no control over that situation.
Yeah.
And once I kind of did that, it then made it a little bit easier in order to kind of do stuff. And I say do stuff, like I'm one of these people, I could sit down and do Netflix forever. Yeah. Indefinitely. Like there isn't a stop point.
I feel you.
But personally, I know that because of who I am and I want to develop and I want to strive and I'm an entrepreneur, like I didn't watch Netflix throughout lockdown. Like I never had. It's something that I didn't do.
You didn't?
I didn't actually do it. Like I didn't do it. And it was, and people have looked at me like, what do you mean? It's like, it's not that I don't, I could do it. I know what I'm like. I'd do days. But I knew that this was not going to be an opportunity that I wasn't going to get again. And so there was an element of me where I was like, do you know what? I don't kind of want to waste this opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm going to embrace it and just kind of accept that this is what it is. So now what am I going to get out of it?
Yeah.
So I had to do some really positive steps in that process to do that, which was my living room became my office. My television moved into my bedroom, and in order for me to get out of bed in the morning, I needed to go to work. So I'd wake up, get dressed, go for a walk, which I had never done in the 8 years I've lived in my property. I have never walked in the surroundings at all. I didn't know there was forest and a massive pond and fields, and didn't. And I literally would have to wake up every morning, get washed, get dressed, go for a walk, and then close the door on my bedroom, knowing that I wasn't then going to do that for the rest of the day, and go to the office and work.
Wow.
And I can honestly say that, thankfully, because I did that, and then there was projects and there was extra things that I was working on, that kind of made it a lot easier to kind of form what was then my office space at home. And that has been a saving grace. And that was probably my early days. I still live on my own. I still spent days where I didn't speak to literally anybody, like just days, like, oh, okay. And there was times when
you spoke to yourself. That counts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. At times. Yeah.
You only got to worry if you're arguing with yourself.
I know, right? That's the problem.
Then you're going to have to call me.
Yeah.
Literally.
But then it was literally that point of, was there times that I felt that the walls were caving in, and was there times that I thought, oh my goodness, this silence is deafening.
Yeah.
Like there was that point, and I remember sitting there, and this is no word of a lie. It's like, okay, so I'm 36, I'm single. 36, I'm single. Okay. 36, I'm single, got no kids. Okay. 36, single, living in the house, got no kids. Where am I going with this?
Yeah.
And it literally was a toss up of like, do I start to make this plan to have children out of absolutely nowhere and go get a sperm donor? Or do I get a puppy?
What did you go for?
The puppy.
Just check it.
Yeah, the puppy. There was literally that point. It was, the silence got to a point of, do I just need a thing, a being, something? What do I need around me?
Companionship.
Just something. Yeah, and amazingly, it wasn't to get a relationship. That wasn't there. It was like, what was the, and I think, out of lockdown, what I've learned, and even more so, is that I love my own company even more so. And besides kind of settling for anything less than my greatness and what I will or won't do, get a puppy.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Well, I'm happy you didn't get a cat.
No.
It's too early to be a cat lady.
No.
But no, I definitely resonate a lot with what you just said. So definitely thanks for sharing so far. I mean, for me, it's similar. Like at the start, coming from a world where everything I created was outside.
Yeah.
So smoking bagels outside, festivals outside, food pop-ups, and then like even down to the digital stuff that we do. We record outside. We do the video skits, etc. So it all changed like that. And I think the biggest thing for me at the start was just kind of adapting to the fact that, like Vanessa says, like, I'm a very outgoing, outdoorsy person. So naturally, just my natural rhythm, first of all, is out of sync.
Yeah.
Forget anything else about work or performance. My rhythm is out of sync. So it says of who I am, I feel out of sorts.
Yeah.
I'm not getting the right amount of oxygen, seeing the right amount of people, whatever it may be. So I had to adjust to that. And then the biggest thing for me as an entrepreneur, because I've been self-employed for like the past 7 years, was, well, if my endeavors can't make money in this way because of the new world, I still need to make money.
Yeah.
So I need to look at the world of consulting. I need to be a consultant for a bit. I need to partner up and team up with people and organizations where I can use my skill set so I can make a living for myself.
Yeah.
So the biggest adjustment I had last year was working in that consultant kind of that role. I've never done that before. I've always been my own boss with my own team, with my own et ceteras. And working for somebody's team, it's been highly valuable and it's been great, but it's a huge shift.
Yeah.
I think it's going through that transition from the start of lockdown into what we call lockdown 3 now.
Lost count.
Wow. It's a trilogy of lockdowns. But like now where I am is I'm definitely more settled in the way that I work and earn a crust and the way that I use my zones in my house. I definitely agree with that as well. But I found this lockdown more difficult in terms of not so much emotionally in emotional sense, but it's like in a day-to-day kind of like, just getting on with it way.
Yeah.
I think the coldness, with the darkness, with all the things combined, and the after Christmas blues, and that massive long January that everyone like it's definitely felt like this lockdown's been the hardest.
Yeah.
I'm still here with a smile on my face saying that, but I definitely see that for maybe people who haven't been as privileged to work in the ways that I have or to build in the way that Vanessa has, it can be very, 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 very challenging.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can't, for me, it's like a whole different world because it was research, working in an office with a bunch of people, but it's still independent work. So once in a while you turn around and say hi to somebody, but you're back on your computer again. And even though I'm like quite a little more used to the loner life, I was like, okay, I like it, but I'm not used to being alone. I absolutely hate it. Like I'm from a big family, and then I came home to school in the UK, and then I was in for like 5 months, and then when lockdown, I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to go crazy. And I think I lived alone for like 5 months until my housemate came, and I'm like, okay, I'm enjoying this. I'm having time for myself. I know I'm working out. I'm doing all the good stuff. And after a while, I'm like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to get out of the house. Yeah. And as Kieran said, January was so hard. Oh my gosh. I thought it was a lot more difficult for me because I lost my dad 4 years ago, and it was in January. So every January, like it's that heaviness, and I couldn't really tell anybody that this is what I was going through. Like my housemate was downstairs with her boyfriend, and I couldn't even tell them that I'm struggling. And I think a lot of people have been going through this during this period, and as you said, you found a way to make use of this really difficult time, even though you've had your hard days, you had your battles to deal with, but you found a way to work around it. And I find that really admirable because, man, I've been struggling. I haven't had the opportunity to divide my office and my, my
living space.
Yeah, my bed is right behind me. My TV is right there. But when it's desk time, and I know that I have to work. And I think I've still been able to meet my, my goals, and I've made amazing progress with my research and all of that. But not everybody has had the chance to do that. Yeah, and as I said, like the lines have been blurred for a lot of people between cabin fever and depression. And you work with a lot of people. What have you seen with regards to that, especially with depression, anxiety, and even people living in abusive relationships where domestic abuse has increased so much? What have you heard? What have you seen? What are you,
I suppose with the work that I do and the projects that we've been a part of, it's actually been quite on the front line to actually see and be aware of certain things that have happened. So as part of one of the projects, as a part of This Is My City, we have Dishes of Change, and we've had Dishes in the Cupboard. Yeah. And part of that has actually resulted in whether we've done food door drop deliveries and just delivering food to somebody is so humbling. We don't know hunger.
Trust me.
No.
Trust me.
And I've always I've known that. So, I've had a lived experience of homelessness, and there's certain things that I've experienced. But there's always been an element where when it's just you to look after, you can get fed. Do you know what I mean? Like, I could get fed. But when you're that responsible person of a family of 2, 3, 4 kids, and that responsibility burden of what that looks like, and you just cannot make ends meet, and the humbling of what it is to know that we've been able to help these families, is literally a lifeline.
Yeah.
Like the messages, the first lockdown was really beautiful. Some of the messages that we were getting from families or from people just basically saying, look, you know, you don't know that now our kids are going to have something better than cereal to eat, or now you know that we're going to be able to, you know, make something from these amazing seasonings that you've sent us. And now we've got, you know, the kids have got something to do. They've got activities and things like that. You don't realise just what impact that has done for that family at that moment in time. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, when you don't have that reality of what 6 months might look like or 2 years might look like, and your immediate circumstances, your situation, every minute, every second, every hour, it's quite daunting to know that the reality of what your circumstances is survival.
Yeah.
100%.
Then it's and it's frightening. You know, we've had to provide food to families that have, you know, left emergency situations where the question is, like, you're in an emergency accommodation, what cooking facilities do you actually have? Or is it literally the fact of, you know, we're going to have to be conscious of what we're sending you because you cannot boil rice or cook potatoes? You know, that's the reality of what we're facing. But I think what this lockdown and all lockdowns have actually shown me is the community spirit of people. You would be so surprised that just want to help.
Yeah.
And it's people that are in the same circumstances, situation as you. And, you know, they just want to help. They just want to make sure that your kids are eating and that somebody's all right, because the survival aspect. And we have this conversation, you know, we live in England and nobody should be going hungry, but people actually are. Yeah. And I think, you know, there was a news report, and it absolutely kills me. There's a news report of this African girl. She was in, I think it was Liverpool or Manchester at the time. 2 weeks prior or 3 weeks prior, she'd been given a food parcel, and they took a picture and took a picture, and they said, you know, we've provided this food parcel, blah, blah, blah. 3 weeks later, she was dead, and her child was taken because, you know, and was left like days like with no one because she had literally died because of malnutrition. Wow. And the reality is that this is England. This is here in England. It happens. And so, you know, for everything that I do within the work that I do, the vulnerable people that we work with, we talk about our food and we forget just what a vital source of life it actually 100%. Is. It's, you know, we talk about food as catering, we talk about food as training. No, it is medicine for our bodies. Yeah. And with fuel, absolutely all of that. And without the right food and without it, we're literally just kind of, you know, you wouldn't put sugar into a petrol into a petrol tank. Do you know what I mean? You know exactly what that's going to happen. And it's the same sort of thing with what we're putting into our bodies. And that without having a good diet and without having certain things about how our eating processes work, then it does make it quite difficult. My biggest thing was breakfast. I could go 4 or 5 hours if I'm not having breakfast, and then wait until my belly's literally go, and then have breakfast. Yeah. Worst thing you could potentially do for your body. The worst thing. So non-negotiable. I have to have breakfast. Have to have fruit. I'm really more conscious about, if I want to be the best version of me, am I providing my body with its kind of best fuel that it needs? So, you know, we take sometimes a little bit for granted just the role that wherever we play, wherever we are in our community, you know, whether it's the fact of, you know, you volunteered and you helped deliver some food, or whether you know, did something that helped another family, just even the recommendation of like, this food service is actually here, if you guys need some help, then this is what's available. Something as small as that lets you know that your community is kind of out there and listening. So
for sure. I love it. Everything you said as well, because it's so different to my experience, because yours is in a very physical way, but mine's been like more digital, which is so weird to say, but this is the world that we're in now. Just the world that we're in.
The new normal, innit?
100%. So like, when I say that, I mean, for me, my first-hand experience has been more about people suffering with their mental health. Especially the age group that I'm in. So I'm 30, so like millennials, I think they call us.
Let's not go there.
Let's not go there. But yeah, like you say, so last year in October, I did a mental health first aid training course. Just to kind of understand things a bit more and to be able to offer some support. And kind of what I'm noticing is more, it's like you say, it's a combination between anxiety in terms of like worrying about what tomorrow might be, stressing about what the outcomes can be, and then being crippled by that worry. And then in some cases depression. Some cases agoraphobia. And for people that don't know, agoraphobia is obviously you want to stay inside, fear of outside, and it's natural to see why some of these things are coming up as worries, because from what we're being fed, I mean, you're lucky you tapped out of TV, and for people that are tapping into TV on a day-to-day basis, combined with the barren streets, combined with you're going to create a negative state of mind.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. So for me, I mean, some of the things that I've been learning, teaching, and sharing is just the power of journaling. So for me, to escape this cabin fever feeling that I've been feeling, it's been journaling.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a creative, so maybe that's why it feels more natural for me to create. But I don't think that's a blocker or an aid. But I think just that idea of just like getting down your subconscious thoughts, getting down the things that's niggling in the back of your mind, so you haven't got to just mentally battle with that. And you can have a clearer state of mind and clearer state of focus. That's been the biggest thing what I've noticed for me, and not just for me, for my peers. The group that I work with, the creators that I work with, they all journal or express in some way, whether it's songwriting or journaling, etc. So when I'm talking to the younger people, when I'm doing the workshops, these are the things I'm transferring to them. You can't go out and rave and have a drink.
No.
You can't watch a movie, but you can pick up a pen and paper and journal.
Right, yeah.
You can escape your four walls in a more imaginative way.
Yeah. Or even if you're not writing your, I do, and it sounds crazy, but I'll pick up my phone and record something, what's on my mind, because I constantly remind my clients that if you're not writing, how do you know the kind of progress that you've made? You go back and you see that I was in this really dark place, and then I'm here now, and that's the difference between then and now, and that means there's still hope for the future. Talking to yourself, it may sound crazy, but it works.
Yeah, you need to be your kind of own best friend.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that, being a little bit older than yourselves, one of the things that I'm quite confident in is my own space, and being able to listen to those own thoughts and be quite comfortable with knowing that these current thoughts might only be my current situation, but being quite, knowing that I can be quite.
I think that's a massive point you touched on.
I
think that's a big point, and it needs more weight on it, because I do find a difference between and like you say, you're only a little bit older than me, so don't try. But there is that whole thing where a lot of people, especially younger than me, they're their own enemy, rather than their own best friend. So when they're stuck in the room without Netflix or without the PlayStation or without the iPhone or whatever it is, and they talk to themselves, it's like a space of torment. Whereas if you can get into a space, and it's definitely a journey, but if you get into a space where you're your own best friend, it's so comforting. And it's
so beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's so what's the word? It's like emancipating.
Yeah.
And it's
gosh, just to touch on that. My niece, she's 23, beautiful. Big shout out to my niece. I'm not going to give her a name. I remember just talking to her and just wanting to just see it. And at 23, like, you're stuck in a room, you can't do, it's a lot. Like, I didn't get how a lot it was. And I'm like, just chill, man, you're good. Like, life will come back, it's good. And it wasn't. But just for me to kind of let her know, guess what? You're amazing and you're beautiful and it's okay. Like, it's all right. And it was so hard for her to say that back. I didn't realise just how comfortable you need to be on your own skin to be able to really be able to do that. Whether it's, I do affirmations, I can spend time just meditating. I make goals and do, the most, probably, realistic things to say, but this is what I'm going to do. So I was one of the very lucky people that got to get out of the country for Christmas. Please don't hate me and do no daggers. But I knew that I was going away for Christmas. My energy of I was being out of I don't do Christmas in this country. I haven't done for about 10 years. Don't plan to do lockdown or no lockdown. Like, my energy was that of, I am going on holiday. I am waking up on the beach on Christmas Day. This is my motive. And that energy was so strong. If I was to tell you all the obstacles that came up as to why I nearly never got on the plane, but my energy of why and that was so important to me that I potentially, if I never had that breakaway, this could have been a different conversation.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
I think it's just one thing you touched on earlier as well, is understanding that it's temporary. So I think for a lot of people, and even for myself, at some parts of lockdown, maybe more now because I've journaled, but you kind of feel like this is going to be forever.
Oh yeah.
And it makes no sense to think that. Of course, I'm not doubting that. But when you're stuck in it, like you said, you can't see past today or the news headline, whatever it may be. It's hard to have that feeling of this is temporary, it's going to pass away.
Yeah.
But that reaffirming that and knowing that that's temporary, that's been my biggest grace in terms of like, we're not the same. We don't feel the same yesterday as we felt today. We don't feel the same tonight as we felt this morning. Like everything completely switches and changes, and we've got to keep it with that motion and keep the flow.
Yeah, yeah. And I like that you're talking about the energy and the obstacles that you had to face. Loads. But I mean, really, as it's like Kieran talked about the journalist, it's like realizing that you've come from this place to that place, and because you had an end goal in sight, you work towards it. Unfortunately, a lot of people have lost all motivation, like all of it. Even the motivation to get out of bed is gone. And I don't know how you have dealt with it during this period, but I say, okay, I don't feel like getting out of bed today. This is how I feel today, and I don't like running away from my emotions. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to go through it, and maybe at some point around 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, I want to get out of bed, and that's okay.
Yeah. I get it. I remember being probably about 16 or 17, and like there were days where I was just like, nah, I'm not getting out of bed today. Just not doing it. Don't need to. Got nothing going on. Got no money. Like literally, like I remember being like having my own place, and like literally, like there was times where I was like, "What is the point? Like, what am I getting out of bed for right now?"
Yeah.
But I think what I'm quite conscious of, and I've had this like a little bit of a my planner's mentality mindset is that I'm always planning for something. So if I do a little bit of something every single day towards this greater plan that I've got, then I'm going to achieve it a little bit quicker, you know? I do have those thoughts of where I think to myself, oh my gosh, you could have actually done a little bit more today, or you could have done X, Y, and Z, or, you know, but what I've come to realize is that we're all, you know, depending on where you're at is dependent upon that life journey or that life goal. I always try and plan for the next 3, 5, and 10 years. I know that within 3 years, I'm going to be here, but then within 5 years, I'll be doing my hairs, and then my 10-year plan, and where I've got these goals, I've got these mindsets, I've written them down. I'm quite assertive in that way. So I think when you're trying to talk to somebody and have those conversations about, do you know what, getting up or getting out of bed or just doing that, it could be just to get up, get out of bed and get dressed this morning. If you don't accomplish anything else,
that's your goal.
That is the goal.
100%.
That is the goal, you know? And knowing that I'm just, it's interesting as I say that, I kind of remember there was a period of time I just, separated from my partner. It was really quite difficult. Actually, my ex-husband, but you know, life as it comes out. But the reality was there was 3 months where I didn't get out of bed, 3 months where I couldn't, 3 months when it was just like the mindset of where I was, that was such a difficult place. But then it was the small steps of literally, I'm going to get up and just get dressed today, you know, but knowing that temporary. Now I look at 3 months and that was, talking over 15 years ago, do you know what I mean? And quite conscious still of what that feeling does bring about, because it's something that
it lives with you.
But I'm quite confident that it was temporary, and that after that and what I've achieved since then and how I now go about things and what I've learned and who I am, I can't do 2 days in bed straight away. I would love to. Like I can't. Something's an email's gonna go off. I got to reply back to that. I think it's kind of like, now for me and where I am, it's a little bit impossible, but I know that it's not, that there's a thin line from where it could be for anybody. Yeah. A really thin line, because our survival mode and where we're all at right now is kind of depending just what you've got going on, your survival mode can turn real quick.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. I think
real quick.
A lot of what you said I resonate with. For me, it's a little bit different because I had to unlearn and then relearn through lockdown. So like having the shop, having smoking bagels every day. I woke up at 7 and you open the shop for 9 and you go to sleep, close the shop at 11 and you fall asleep at 3 in the morning and then you repeat. It's just, that's a cycle. Yeah. So you haven't got no choice but to be up and out. Like if you're not out, the rest of it falls to close. Yeah. Having that kind of space when I got rid of the shop at the start of lockdown, and then like having these 3 hours in the morning, like this free time, like I haven't got to open the shop for 9, I haven't got to get food shopping. You know what it's like? Yeah. I was like, I was kind of lost in the sauce for a bit. Yeah. Like, well, how do other people do their mornings because that's been my morning for 3 years, like straight, every single, 6 days a week. So then I kind of got to a period right through lockdown, maybe mid lockdown, I don't know when it was, but I started to have that feeling like, well, why am I getting out of bed for, or why am I going to get showered now? Like, I can get showered later if someone contacts me, or if I'm going shopping, I'll put on some clothes then. But for now, it's just me. Do you know what I mean? Love that. But I kind of got to a place where, that's why I say I had to unlearn and relearn, and then so I've really, and it sounds cliche, but I really adopted the whole, day by day, step by step. Each thing goes to a bigger thing. So Vanessa talks greatly about 3, 5, and 10 year plans, which I'm a massive advocate for, always have been. But in lockdown, I focus more on my day-to-day plan.
Yeah.
Like literally, like, what's the 5 things or 4 things I can do today that would make it feel like I'm a human?
Yeah.
It was better than yesterday.
Yeah.
I was still going in the right direction.
Yeah.
So I think, like, in terms of like this whole, I learned this phrase we hear a lot in lockdown is like, be kind to yourself. And I suppose it's been around for way before, but I've heard it a lot in lockdown. My way of being kind to myself now is just focusing on my day to day, knowing that it's in the right direction, knowing that I haven't lost the plot.
Yeah.
But like, rather than having the pressure of, I'm not saying it's because we all work differently, but knowing I haven't got the pressure of what's happening in 3 years, just my today.
Yeah.
I'm here, I'm happy, I'm smiling. Do you know what I mean? So I mean, it all depends what kind of person you are.
Yeah.
For me, that unlearning part was way more uncomfortable than where I am now.
Oh, yeah.
But that unlearning, like I said, there was times I was sitting there just thinking like, well, like I said, what do normal people do?
Yeah.
Like literally, you kind of asking yourself, like, am I not normal? Like, have I been doing this wrong my whole life? Like, am I only happy if I'm working? And is that a problem?
Yeah.
Do you see where I'm going from?
Yeah.
But like I said, just being kind to myself, just step by step, day by day. I had a meeting that lasted at 1, and I'm here for 1:30, and then I got another one. That's just how I get through my day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I like that you prettily talk about the temporariness of it. Is that a word? Temporariness.
Temporality.
Yeah.
Temporality.
It's temporary.
that one. You know how temporary all of this is, and sometimes we forget because we've been in for a whole year, and the whole year drags on. I think last year went relatively fast, to be honest. But
doing nothing goes fast.
Oh yeah,
trust me. I feel like last year the lockdown came, and then we had like a massive summer. I feel like summer was just
summer
massive.
was bad. Summer was beautiful. Summer was really good.
And then like from there, it's just like
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and like Kieran said and Vanessa said, we are all different, and everyone has their 5-year plan or 3-year plan. But as you said, for some people, it's just getting through the week. And I'm just like trying to relate that to what Kieran is saying with regards to getting through the day. It's just a minute at a time, an hour at a time, a day at a time, and really understanding what is within your sphere of control, because there's very little we can control now, but we can control what we're going to eat. We can control, thanks to Vanessa's amazing food parcels and smoking bagels, we know I'm going to have a bagel today. I'm going to have something spicy or nice today, We can control the amount of exercise we get. Say that I'm going to go for a walk that's about 30 minutes long. We can control how much news we even, have contact with. We can control who we're talking to, because now we're not going to bump into anybody randomly that's going to upset us and we don't want to talk about them. Talk to them,
And it's coming out. So that's a big one. Because the number one thing for me has been, and this is very, very recently, so this is why I want to touch on it, is because you forget that now we haven't got to talk to anybody we don't have to talk to at all.
I love it.
Do you know,
that's amazing.
And that's not rude. That's protective. That's smart. For a lot of times, you hold these relationships and conversations and dialogues because of the possibility of you to, space.
Yeah.
But recently, especially in the last month or two, I'm really like, if I don't want to talk to you, I'm not going to talk to you.
I love it.
I can't. I don't want to. I'm not going to take on your issues.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I had to decide a little while ago in respects of, and I think, I don't know whether spiritual, and then this is different for everybody. For me, how I found my single life, I've so embraced it. I have travelled, so it was sickening when I was like, "We can't go on holiday." What do you mean? Like what? No, what? Whoa, that's part of my year. That's part of what I do. So and I've made choices about my kind of single choices. So what I found, and my kind of resentment that I had for people that had families. And people that were cooking up all this food and were doing all this stuff. And, I didn't have a social bubble that I could just now go and jump into and kind of go, hey, family. Do you know what I mean? And I didn't feel that there was that kind of consideration for single people with families, because families are like, look, I would love to be in your shoes, come and swap.
Oh yeah.
But the reality of what you're swapping to of that silence was, you know, is deafening, you know, and I kind of felt like, you know what, let me go see who's going to message me. Let me see who's going to check in, make sure I'm all right. I'm still waiting for some phone calls. But they can stay there, and I'm okay with that now. And I think when you come out of it the other side, and you're like, okay, well, actually, you've just shifted my friendship. Not just shifted how I deal with stuff.
Yeah.
When I was readily available, and you can phone me, hey, have you got this? Can you do this? Can you do rare? Yeah, you didn't phone me for a year. I didn't hear from you for a year.
Yeah.
A whole entire year. Yeah. And now you see that I'm guanty with things. You want to phone me now? Nah.
So I think it's definitely definitely about protecting energy. Definitely about choosing who we align our energy with in the day.
Yeah.
Making sure that it's positive, making sure it's propelling us and not like keeping us like locked in a sad state.
Yeah. At this point, it's really all about your mental well-being, and it may sound a little selfish, but people take for granted how much, time or space they have in your life, and how little you get to have for yourself, you know. But let's move on to like one last thing. You're both creatives, or you're both entrepreneurs. Am I saying the word rightly? But during this period, I see how amazingly you've done with your businesses, with work, with transforming your jobs and your crafts. What do you have for people out there that are struggling with, you know, trying to get up and out of bed, or trying to get some work done, or trying to basically just get moving or do something with their lives, with regards to how you've digitized everything you do and how you've, you know, been innovative with helping people? What do you have?
You know what? I think my biggest mantra that I've lived with over the past few years of like, just how badly do you want it? And I say that in a way of like, you know, don't be content with your current circumstance or situation. Yeah. If that doesn't make you happy. Yeah. If it makes you happy, do it. Just be in that circumstance or situation. But if it honestly doesn't make you happy, or you're not fulfilling your true potential of who you really are, then you just got to find your why. I found my why, and I wake up in the morning with a totally different viewpoint. I hate waking up at 6:30 in the morning. I have a puppy now that needs to get up. But I wake up knowing that, you know, this just is, you know, it's just what I'm now. I've embraced that as part of what this now is. And I've taken that responsibility on. And now this is kind of what it is, you know. So it's difficult. And I'm not going to sit here for 1 second. And I suppose people say this, find your purpose, find your why. But how do you find that, blah, blah, whatever. And I think for me, it's knowing, being comfortable in your skin, knowing what makes you, and live into that full potential. And I say that with a consciousness to know that I've been an entrepreneur for like 7 years, but I didn't know 7 years ago that I was going to be an entrepreneur. What I knew was that I would work for people and I would upset them because my excellence embarrassed them, because I was going to always do something better. I was going to find it greater. I was going to do something that was going to over succeed. And I'm going to look at you and tell you like, but hold on a second, you can't complain about my work. Now you're complaining that my excellence is greater than, and there was always, I always felt that there was always going to be a power struggle. But the second I realized that my greatness was dependent on what I believed of myself, then it totally transformed what I was willing to do, put up with, the challenges, the so uncomfortable, this growth, so uncomfortable. Like I always have the thought of going back and thinking to myself, whether it's Steve Jobs, whether it's, you know, what's his name, Steve Benzo, the CEO of Amazon, all of these people, they started at a point. So you know when I'm doing my seasoning boxes and I've got 1,300 pots to do, and I've got the hot list, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to pray about it, and I'm going to at some point, there's somebody else doing this for me. I'm going to keep on going. Because you just have to start. I think to sum up everything that I've just said, would like, just start. Just have that starting point. Know at what point that you just want something more, you know? And then once you get to that point, then start in. will mean that you've got to do something to get something.
Yeah.
I like that. There's a lot of things you said that I wanted to piggyback off.
Which one are you going to choose?
I know, like literally.
Yeah.
So my one was going to be, before you even spoke, it's going to be about being authentic. I know that's kind of what you're talking about as well. I think for me, like being authentic to yourself, understanding the things that makes you you, and that's small things that I prefer. 2 spoons of sugar rather than 1 spoon of sugar, and then it goes on to bigger things where I prefer to work from the afternoon rather than the morning.
Yeah.
And it's bigger things where I prefer to speak to people when I've got free time rather than when I'm occupied. Being authentic to yourself really is a start of how to get up in the morning, because when you're living a life that's in rhythm with who you are internally, then the external factors become less of a problem.
Love that.
So it's like
Me too.
Thank you. So for me, it's like I just know who I am, what I want to put out in the world, how I want to go about doing that, and anything that becomes a distraction or obstacle or takes me away from that path isn't for me.
Yeah.
And just saying to myself that isn't for me is sometimes enough.
Yeah.
I don't think you always have to know what is for you.
Yeah.
But you need to know what isn't for you.
That ain't.
That ain't.
That's not.
So
Yeah,
I think
definitely isn't.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I think, like, for me, the biggest thing I can say to anybody who's struggling in any way is just really start to tap into the makings of you. What is the design of you? When you was in school, before you got limited with kids or a family, what did you want to be? When you got a spare minute and you're daydreaming, how do you want things to change? That's the authentic version of you.
Okay. That I missed the quote, but what Kieran said about finding what's authentic to you, and can you we have to trademark that. You have to put on. Yeah, I have to print that on one of your
I don't
clothes.
know what I said.
I love that.
We'll remember when we're done recording this, but
Being authentic to you just knows that your standards of whatever it is, whatever it is,
Yeah.
just that's why I'm still single. Hello, like no, I can't, and it's crazy, but I think that authenticity will bring about whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and once you get that, and I always I never fear people that have more money than me. I've sat down on tables of millionaires. I've eaten some amazing dinners. I've stood there and gone, "Hi, Tom Cruise, you okay?" Like, gasped. But no, I wasn't scared in respect of, I don't care whether you could be a multi-million-pound grossing whoever.
Yeah.
But guess what? We're all human beings first,
Yeah.
and you've got the same as what I've got. Our start lines might have been different, but I have the ability to be the greatest version of me.
Yeah.
And don't be limited to kind of what other people's expectations of their own life becomes, and that's
Real, man,
that's
for real.
so big.
yeah. Thanks, Vanessa. Thanks, Kieran. Our cabin fever conversation has turned very positive. So I'm excited that we didn't reflect on just the negativity of we've been stuck at home and that's all it is. We've been reminded that if you want to do something, it's okay to just start, whether it's changing your exercise regime, having more time with your family, reflecting on yourself more, starting that business, starting that podcast, starting that YouTube channel, journaling, writing down your thoughts, writing that music down, or putting that painting together, and being authentic, really knowing who you are and being comfortable in your skin, goes such a long way to really make this whole period a lot more bearable, because we're going to come out on another side where this authenticity is going to be needed, and I mean that's what we should all be looking forward to. So thank you so much. This has been such an amazing discussion. Thanks, Vanessa. Thanks,
you.
Kieran Frantic.
Thank you.
Remember, Too Much Passion TIC. This is VLK and Smoking Bagels, and visit the yard when you can. What are the days again?
We can visit on a Wednesday, open house on a Wednesday, but just drop us a message, man.
And Vanessa.
Yeah, drop us a message. Follow me on social media. I'm sure we'll put all the tags in the bio
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff and things like that.
yeah.
So,
Yep. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Angela. You've been an awesome host.
Oh,
Yes,
thank
yes,
you.
No, it's been good. It's really
Thank
good.
you. Thank you. I think I'm getting better at this. Yeah. So once again, this has been the This Is My Lockdown podcast, and I've been your hostess, Angela Kuma. Have an amazing day.